she really built you up and prepared you. Like, she was already into music, so it was easy for her to like pour into you that way and support you.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. And I think the one thing that I learned from my mom is hard work and dedication. Like, always putting your all into it. Always making sure that you do every performance like it's your best.
Yeah.
And just pushing yourself, because she's been pushing, working so hard. So it's definitely motivated me for sure, like with my music journey.
Hey, it's Raquel, and we are back with another interview from the infamous In the Gallery series. Here we have today Kayliah Love.
Hello.
For the people watching, Kayliah, what can you tell us about yourself with people who are just getting to know you, and me, myself as well, just being introduced to you? What can you share with us about yourself?
Something I would like to share is that, like, I'm very passionate about singing, about music, about my relationship with God. I'm passionate about school, athletics. I run track. I have many different passions. But I would just say that, I don't know, I do a lot of things with care, I would say, and that I am very passionate about the things that I put my mind to.
Okay.
So
I see that you are like juggling a lot there. How do you maintain juggling that, and what do you prioritize out of all of those things, or do you prioritize any of those things over one another?
That's a great question, because I feel like this year I've really been struggling with that. Like, my love and my passion for other things growing, for many different things. It's been hard for me to juggle. I would say, honestly, prayer and trying to make sure that I like follow God and what He has in store for me, and realizing that I need to stay present in what I'm doing right now. Currently, like I said, like, I run track for my school, and so having to like juggle like athletics and then also trying to do music more consistently has been difficult, just because track is time consuming. I would say to just really, I would say that I trust God, and like really honing in on, okay, these things are happening for a reason. This year I like redshirted my outdoor season because I was injured, and that was really difficult because obviously, like, I love running. I'm dedicated to it. But I felt like that was the perfect opportunity for me to, okay, like, if I can't compete, I should go all in on music. And so that's what I did this outdoor season. And so, yeah, just trying to like navigate the ways of life, how it goes up and down. And I guess that's really how I regulate my priorities, is based on like what life throws at me, I guess.
Yeah. And I feel like for me too, I really trust and go to God and apply that in my life as well, so I can relate on that.
Yeah.
So were you running track in Queens? She is from Queens, guys. New York. Queens, New York. So were you how was your life like in Queens with running track and music? Do you feel like it has evolved, or how is that journey going?
So I'm born and raised in Queens, New York, and then I went to high school in St. Louis. So most of my track journey did start in St. Louis, in high school. But I would definitely say that my love for music started when I was in Queens. My mom has done music for as long as I can remember, and so like and she had me at a pretty young age. So when I would go around with her and she would go to studio in the city, I just really loved that experience, being able to just be in the studio with her.
Yeah.
And like see her creative like breakdown of how she does things, and then just being in the city and just like her thriving off of that energy. I think that really was like the growth of the music and how I value it. Running track and obviously it was a big shift from New York to St. Louis.
Right.
And that's one of the reasons why I came to Chicago, because I wanted to be in the city again, and everyone spoke about how great Chicago is.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to go back to New York. And so I was like, this is the perfect place for me to come and like start this next chapter of life in college.
Yeah.
I would say running track in St. Louis definitely was a good experience. I had a really great team. I had amazing coaches, and people in St. Louis are great. I love St. Louis.
Very supportive.
Yes, they're very supportive. They're sweet, and it took me a minute to adapt because it is like really, really different. But I would say the support system that I got in St. Louis with like finding my friends and like adapting was just amazing. And so, yeah.
That's great. And then I think it's beautiful to have like your first inspiration being your mom taking you to the studios young.
Yes.
That actually goes into my first question. At what age did you feel yourself gravitate to music and tap into the expression of singing with your voice?
I would say that's really hard. Because, like, there's videos that my mom has of me singing when I was, like, 3.
Okay.
Of me just, I mean, I probably didn't sound good, but I feel like I've always had a love for singing. But I would say initially my first memory of singing like on stage was in elementary school. I sang Let It Go at a school talent show.
Wow.
And it's definitely on YouTube somewhere.
Let it go, let it go.
But I would say that was probably the beginning of me like loving music and putting in time. I remember me and my mom practicing for hours and making sure that I did everything correctly, incorporating my hairstyle and my outfit with the performance. And so I would say that was the start of it. I always looked up to my mom. She's so hardworking, and so like she's been doing music since I was a baby.
Right.
So seeing her do that definitely started my love and inspired my love for music as well. I would say if I had to give an age, maybe like 6.
Okay. That's beautiful. And then it sounds like she really built you up and prepared you. Like she was already into music, so it was easy for her to like pour into you that way and support you.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. And I think the one thing that I learned from my mom is hard work and dedication. Like always putting your all into it. Always making sure that you do every performance like it's your best.
Yeah.
And just pushing yourself, because she's been pushing, and working so hard. So it's definitely motivated me for sure, like with my music journey.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Yes, thank you.
How important is it to include God when creating?
I think it's the most important, one of the most important things to make sure that like God is at the forefront of your life. I think that building a strong relationship with God initially before you start creating is really important as well. Just because I feel like I wouldn't say it's easy to get lost, but it's very possible to get lost in the sauce if you don't prioritize God and you didn't have like an initial relationship with him. And then I really think like in this world that we're in right now, representing, like being like people knowing that you are a child of God is important. And so I want to make sure that all my music has like a positive reflection of like who I am, like what God has done in my life, and like it's just positive. I think like especially with music, there's a lot of things that aren't very positive about it, based on like other artists and what's being put out into the world. So for me personally, I don't want to ever put anything out that's like negative and that doesn't like reflect what God has and what he has done in my life. I do remember like my first single, I really struggled with something like that because I wasn't saying anything bad, but it just didn't feel right. It didn't sit right with me. And so I remember pushing my my release date back because I wanted to change it. And it was so difficult for me, like the literal definition of internal battle, for real. Like I had the song and I was waiting for it to be out and the due date was coming and I was just really excited. But then there was just one point where I was like listening to it and I was like, does this really like represent who I am? And like, does this really represent like what God has done in my life? And I couldn't, and the last thing I wanted to do was push it back, but that's what I ended up doing, and I'm so grateful that I did. And I just think it's really important to like listen to your gut and also listen to God, and that there's a reason why, because when your art that you put out is always going to be out, it's always going to be there. And so I just want to make sure that everything that I have out is a reflection of him. Because like he gave me the gift of singing.
I agree.
So yeah, definitely that's important.
And God will give us the discernment too. So when creating, I think for me too, it's important to like make sure that I utilize my gifts representing God, because it wouldn't feel right if I'm not.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I agree with that.
Yes, thank you.
What is the process of staying in alignment with like-minded individuals who are seeking God look like for you?
I would say I can give like real world examples.
Mm-hmm.
Coming to college, my freshman year, so being from New York, my grandpa is a pastor,
Okay.
and so I like grew up in the church, and I always had a really good church that I would go to, when I was in Queens, and so coming to a new city, even like in St. Louis and in Chicago, having to find your community can be difficult.
Yeah.
I remember my sophomore year, I made it my mission to find a church and like people to surround myself with, so my relationship with God can grow.
Yeah.
I think what you surround yourself with is a reflection of like who you are and who you might grow to be.
Right.
And so it was really important for me to find that community. Luckily, the end of my sophomore year, I found a church that I really like to go to, and I joined this Bible study at my college. It was like full of girls that we did Bible study every Thursday, and man, that really, really, really helped me. Like, I'm so grateful that I had the motivation to go and like look out for it, because I know sometimes I can just be like the hard beginning part.
Yeah.
But I feel like every time like I have a strong like, okay, like I need to go and find these things to align myself with God. Obviously it's God.
Yeah.
Making sure that this is something that I'm doing. And so I would say that's really extremely important to me. I found a church that I wanted to go to, and I found a group of women that like help uplift me in every way possible. And it was
Yeah.
something that I looked forward to every week, and I definitely felt like that was allowing me to grow with God,
Yeah.
along with making connections with people like that I didn't really get to see all the time.
Yeah. And that's great that you sought after that too.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if people are really thinking about that or considering that as much. And I'm from Chicago personally, and I don't have that many friends who have that mindset. But I'm glad God blessed me like family, that keeps me grounded, because we all hold each other accountable in that way. So
Yes.
yeah, I agree.
Yes, and I think it's just really important to like educate your friends on it.
Yeah.
And making sure that you guys have that connection, because I feel like even in terms of like creative and music, surrounding yourself with like-minded people and people that are like trying to grow.
Yeah.
And that aspect is so important. I think musically, I think creatively, and I think like in a relationship with God as well.
Yeah, like the entire being. Yeah.
Yeah.
The one song you just sang named is what?
Garden.
Okay. Can you talk more about, what that means to you and how that song came about?
Yes. So the song is inspired by like growing and a garden flourishing, like a garden being the reflection of the person, and pretty much is about two people feeding into each other. Someone pours into you and you pour into them, and to the point where you guys both flourish and you guys grow together.
Yeah.
I think that it's really important for you to like find someone that like feeds into you just as much as you do with them. And so that's what the song is about, like finding a type of love that is like infinite, and a type of love that like allows you to grow in every aspect of your life. And I think that I really like to make songs like up to interpretation for everyone. So when listening to the song, like you could be thinking of your partner, you could be thinking of your best friend, and you can be thinking about like your relationship with God, like how like he pours into you, and how you like making the time for him to pray, to go to church, to praise him, allows relationship to grow like a garden. And then not initially, but after I wrote the song and I put it out, I was reading the Bible, and Jeremiah 17, 7 through 8 really spoke to me. I would like to read it, because I think it's really, I feel like it really speaks to like what I feel like the song represents. But it says, "Blessed is the one who trusts in the Lord, whose confidence is in him. They will be like a tree planted by the water that sends out its roots by the stream. It does not fear when heat comes. Its leaves are always green. It has no worries in a year of drought. It never fails to bear fruit." And I feel like this scripture is just so important to just rely on God and like how important it is to have trust in him. Because no matter what happens, because sometimes in life, like, you will have a drought and you will feel like you are on your lowest point.
Right.
But if your trust maintains and stays strong, you will still be able to bear fruit and your roots will still be able to grow. And I really feel like it's a reflection of like garden, being able to grow, whether or not someone feeds into you or whether if someone does.
Right.
Having a flourishing garden is like important.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And we actually have a garden too that we're working on.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's in Washington Park.
That's beautiful.
But yeah, I agree, because I think for me, I start being more particular in my prayers. And I would say, like, God, give me confidence. But now I understand I have to have confidence in God to be confident. So yeah, really trusting God in that growing process.
Yes.
And it's not always pretty either.
No.
But just continue to have faith, really.
And even in a drought, like making sure that you trust God. It's definitely easier said than done.
Yeah.
I think that having a strong relationship with him and like being prayerful helps.
Yeah.
But it's definitely easier said than done, because when things get hard, it's like easy to question things sometimes.
Yeah. It's easy to give up. It's harder to actually like keep going. I feel like, yeah. Well, we appreciate you guys tuning in to the Another in the Gallery series for the interview. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe this video as well as her performance video. Like, comment, and subscribe as well. We're at the Golden Street Underground Market, and we'll see you soon.
Bye. Thank you, guys.
Peace.